see you this morning? Good.
Smile, Grandma.
Yeah. Oh. You better let Mary run that.
No,
She's a pretty good talker.
I'm not.
Well, I really don't have to talk. I can just kind of...
You don't need to get me on. He's always getting me on there.
Right.
Yes.
Sure.
Oh.
So,
get some of Hugh. He looks better than I do. Oh, God help him. He hasn't got any. I couldn't give him a good tip. No. I'll bet you.
We're getting ready to do an interview with Grandpa Hermes. La la. I want to see if this works.
I hope he's reading questions.
Oh, pretty easy. I'm interviewing my great-grandpa Hermes for my oral history interview questions for social studies, 3rd hour, with Mrs. Wentz. Question number 1. Who is the oldest family member that you have personal memories of?
The oldest family member that I have was my grandmother. The two oldest ones was a grandmother who lived to be 91, and my wife's father, who lived a little past 99 years old. And he fully intended to live to be 100, but he didn't quite make it.
Okay. What was that person like?
My grandmother was a very kindly lady had never learned to read or write. She came from Ireland, and she was one of the family members that didn't get to go to school because not all the family went to school in those days. And it didn't seem to impair her personality, though. She was a happy person and a pleasure to be around.
How did she influence your life?
She influenced it quite a bit. She was always willing to hear my story or anything that I was interested in. And if she could help me, she would. And oftentimes did.
Okay, question number 2. Do you remember hearing anything about any of your ancestors who died before you were born?
Read that again.
Do you remember hearing anything about any of your ancestors who died before you were born?
Oh, yes, I would say so. I remember my grandfather Hermes was dead before I was old enough to remember. And I heard a lot about him coming from the old country, Germany, and about him settling here east of Sterling and got his first job at $12 a month, and his room and board. And he worked for this man at least 6 or 7 years, and in his last few years, he made a deal with his employer to he would buy a team of colts and break them, and then his employer would use them for free of charge, and he could sell them to make extra money, and sometimes he got as high as $100 more when he sold them.
Okay, question number 3. Where did your family originate before they came to the United States?
My grandfather came from Germany, and my grandmother came from Ireland, and they settled in northern Illinois here, both of them.
Question number 4. Where has your family lived in the United States?
Where did they live?
Mm-hmm.
We're all that doesn't include my grown-up children now. They're scattered out.
Okay, now, question number 5. Was there an occupation that was common in your family?
Very much so. In the early times, it was very much agriculture, farming. But my grandfather at one time was a baker. And I think my father was always a farmer. Yes.
Question number 6. Were there names that were common in your family?
Yes, there were especially names common in my Irish part of me. Hugh and Ambrose were 2 of them, especially. And I believe Sarah was one for the girls. Sarah and Agnes. Yes.
Question number 7. Are there physical traits that are common in your family?
Well, I don't know if there's anything real outstanding, but most all the family were tall of stature, and not very many of them carried much extra weight.
Question number 8. Has anyone fought in wars?
No, I don't believe I can say if any of our family were in wars. They were called, but they didn't get in the fight. 2 of them were called, but they didn't get into the shooting end of it.
Question number 9. What traditions do you remember from your family?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Like holidays or vacations?
The older traditions was get-togethers for different occasions, and the families were all quite close to each other and got along very well. And that way they were able to find their own recreation, not too much for travel, because it just transportation wasn't that easy and available. The trains was the main thing.
Question number 10. Does your family have a motto or saying that they either use to teach lessons or live by?
No, I can't recall one. I don't believe there was any definite saying or what you'd call something belonging to them.
Okay. Thanks. That's all.
That's all?
Yeah.